You consider it right for a man of my years and experience to go to school to some boy?
It is not right if I am wrong, but if I am young and right, what does my age matter?
You think it's right to stand up for an anarchist?
Not at all. I pay no respect to criminals.
Then is she not a criminal?
The city proposed to teach me how to rule.
And the city proposes to teach me how to rule?
Ah, who it is that is talking like a boy now?
My voice is the one giving orders in this city.
It is no city if it takes order from one voice.
The state is the king.
Yes, if the state is a desert.
This boy, it seems, has sold out to a woman.
If you are a woman, my only concern is for you.
So your concern in a public brawl with your father?
How about you in a public brawl with justice?
Justice? That is all I do. Is it within my rights?
You have no right to trample on God's right.
Fool, adolescent fool, taken in by a woman.
You'll never see me taken in by anything vile.
Every word you say is for her.
And for you, and for me, and for the gods under the earth.
You'll never marry her while she lives.
Then she must die, but her death will cause another.
Another? Have you lost your senses? Is this an open threat?
There is no threat in speaking to emptiness.
I swear you'll regret this tone, boy. This superior tone of yours. You are the empty one.
If you were not my father, I'd say you were perverse.
You girl-struck fool. Don't play at words with me. Hey guys, it's me and Benny, and today we are analyzing Creon in Antigone. It is not power that corrupts, but fear. Fear of losing power corrupts those who wield it, and fear of scourge of power corrupts those who are subject to it.
In the opening of the play, the two brothers, Polynices and Eteocles, are fighting each other. They're on opposing sides. Eteocles is fighting on the side of the city of Thebes, and Polynices is fighting for the rebels. In the end, they end up killing each other, and without an heir to the throne, Creon rises to the throne. He ends up burying Eteocles since he was fighting on the side of the city, but chooses not to bury Polynices since he was a rebel, and does not grace his body as well.
Antigone, the sister of Polynices and Eteocles, all children of Oedipus, wants to bury her brother because he is family, and she sees it as the more honorable thing to do. She thinks that the gods will see her more favorably if she buries him, and that's what he would have done for her. Her sister, though, Ismene, tells her not to defy Creon because she doesn't know how dire the consequences could be, but she goes through with her plan and tries to bury him anyway.
Upon her attempt to bury the body of Polynices, she's caught by one of Creon's guards who is stationed to protect the body. Obviously, Creon was not very happy about this. He punishes her severely and buries her in a cave.
But he forgives Ismene, thinking that her actions were not as severe as Antigone's. His son Haman, who is set to marry Antigone, comes in and tries to reason with him. Then they get in a huge fight over it. Words get exchanged that are very heated, and Haman says that he does not want to see Creon ever again. The blind seer of Thebes is then brought in, Tiresias, and he warns Creon that the gods aren't happy with him. They see that he has made the wrong moves, and that he has to be, he needs to retract his actions and atone for his sins.
Upon realizing this truth, Creon heads back into the cave where Antigone is buried. He thinks that if he goes back, he can right the wrongs that he has made. However, upon reaching there, he is haunted with the bad truth that, not wanting to die at the hands of Creon, Antigone has hung herself.
Creon, upon entering the cave, sees Hymen over Antigone's dead body, mourning her death. He then pulls out a knife and he tries to stab his own father, but unsuccessfully, he decides that his only course of action is to take his own life in front of his father instead.
This action shakes Creon to his core. He realizes that all of the bad things that have happened up to this point have been his own doing, and the fact that he couldn't simply just follow the rules that the gods set forward for him. He takes his son's dead body and he carries it back to the temple. When the news reaches the queen, Creon's wife, she takes her own life.
As we said before, it is not power that corrupts, but fear. Fear of losing power corrupts those who wield it, and fear of scourge of power corrupts those who are subject to it. Creon falls exactly into this statement because, as we can see, like Oedipus before him, once he got to power, he became blinded to all reason, In Oedipus Rex, Creon was the voice of reason, telling Oedipus to calm down and to not see him as the enemy because clearly it wasn't him. But in this play, Creon has become exactly who he accused Oedipus of being, an ignorant king of Thebes.
A metaphor in real life that we compare this to is our favorite example in class, Donald Trump. After the election was, in his eyes, stolen, he turned on some of his closest followers and supporters, calling them out, saying that they were supporting this steal of the election, when in reality it was just a big myth that he created in order to cope with his loss. As we learned, similar to how Creon, when he was serving under Oedipus, would constantly hear Oedipus's ramblings about people defying him, when Donald Trump was a boy, his dad would make him fear being a loser. So when he ended up losing, similar to how Creon did, he didn't know how to handle it.
Like in Oedipus Rex, when Donald Trump lost the election and Mike Pence had to verify that Joe Biden had won, and he had to approve the transition of power, Trump, along with all of his followers, turned on Mike Pence, saying that he was in on the conspiracy. That's kind of what Oedipus did to Creon, and that's what Creon is doing to his son, for example, accusing him that he doesn't love him when he tries reasoning with him. Some of the main themes in Antigone are love, family, power, and morality, and we see a lot of these themes intermingled in the scene we acted out and in the main story just in and of itself. The love that Creon accuses his son of not having because he's trying to reason with him, the entire family issue, like Creon, as the tragedy goes, ends up practically killing his entire family and extended family out of his own ignorance, and power is what blinds him, and the morality of the situation is what really sets off this whole play in whether or not it is the right choice to bury the body of Polynices.
And in the story, to kind of build up what he was talking about, it's really a bit of a battle between power and morality, where every other character in the play is on the side of morality. Antigone wants to bury the body. Hymen wants to support Antigone, who he feels is right. They're all taking the side of what they believe is right, what they believe the gods think is right. Creon, however, is very desperate to preserve whatever power he has. He'll go against whatever he knows is right. He'll go against what the facts are, just to hold on to this little bit of power that he has. But in the end, like Oedipus, he was powerless before his own fate.
Right. He sees the people as not trying to reason and trying to propose the best option possible for the city, but he sees them rather as trying to defy him simply because he is in power.
Yeah. Well said, Connor.
Thank you for listening.